underrated ab exercises out there is also one of the simplest, and it's one of the most hated. Now, don't get me wrong, I love hanging ab moves and extended plank and ab rollouts. These are things that I try and program in as much as possible to client programs to really strengthen their core. But one oh-so-basic move I think we also just gloss over that should be utilized more is the basic bodyweight crunch. Yup, that's right. I'm not demonizing the crunch, but actually telling you it may be an essential ab exercise to include. While crunches are often blamed for back pain because they require spinal flexion, we have to remember that our abs actually flex the spine, and spinal flexion is even required in many sports. So while planks are great, they work the abs to stabilize and prevent flexion and extension. To target our abs and really strengthen them, we also want to include spinal flexion exercises. We also have to remember that to get the best muscle hypertrophy or muscle building results for especially stubborn areas, we want to include a combination of both compound and isolation moves. And the crunch is a perfect way to isolate your abs. Hypertrophy research has shown dynamic exercises like the crunch to be superior for muscle growth over isometric exercises like the plank. This is due to not only increased muscular damage, but also the increased metabolic stress of those dynamic movements. So if you want to have stronger abs and even optimize the appearance of your six-pack, spinal flexion moves are key. And before you start to comment that abs are made in the kitchen, I'll remind everyone you can't spot reduce an area by simply doing 1,000 reps of a move to target that muscle. You won't get a six-pack by just doing 1,000 crunches. You won't get a defined six-pack through exercise alone, period. But moves like this are a great way to build the lean look you want as you dial in your diet. And on top of the fact they add benefit to your hypertrophy programming to improve those muscle gains, crunches can also really help you establish a mind-body connection to know how to better engage your abs during other moves. Taking time to isolate muscles and really understand how it feels when they work can help you better engage them during compound moves, especially as you speed up the tempo of those exercises. This ability to recruit muscles correctly can be essential to helping us avoid overload and injury. And it's easier to focus on what you feel working to start with more isolated moves, as other muscles can't as easily compensate. That's why I wanted to share 3 key form tips to help you get more out of this very basic ab exercise and focus on that mind-body connection. Tip number 1, use the posterior pelvic tilt. The posterior pelvic tilt has been shown to help with activating the lower portion of the rectus abdominis. By using it here, we can better activate your abs and get more out of this basic crunch. As you set up for the crunch, tilt your hips up towards your ribs and feel your abs engage to that very small tuck. Focusing on this engagement before you even crunch is key. And then don't lose this positioning. Often after crunching, when we relax back down, we lose that engagement. We start to almost use momentum to crunch and allow our lower backs to even slightly arch up. By keeping that posterior pelvic tilt, you'll help yourself isolate and engage your abs. Tip number 2, focus on rolling up one vertebrae at a time. You want to focus on your abs really powering the crunch. A great way to do this is to slow the move down and think about lifting one vertebrae at a time. This also helps prevent you from simply tucking your chin or yanking on your neck. Remember, your abs power spinal flexion, so focus on using those abs to power every inch of movement by thinking you're rolling up one vertebrae at a time. This also helps you slow down and control the movement to get more out of it. And by slowly lowering back down one vertebrae at a time, you'll get more out of the eccentric portion of the small move. Tip number 3, don't just go through the motions, focus on engaging those abs to power the move. Too often we're focused on the movement pattern, not on what we feel working. We're just trying to do the exercise and get through the workout. We think just crunch up. But instead, focus on engaging those abs using the first 2 tips and stay intentional with the move. If you fatigue or lose that mind-body connection, don't just keep forcing out reps. Don't do wasted volume. Make every rep count. We need to stop the binary thinking when it comes to moves and instead see the opportunity in implementing different exercises to fit our specific needs and goals. While no, crunches aren't right for everyone, I think too often they get written off when this very basic move can be a great way to improve your mind-body connection to actually avoid injuries, not to mention improve your muscle hypertrophy to reach the aesthetic goals you set. If you liked the video, make sure to like it, comment below if you have any questions, and subscribe. We're posting new videos each week.